What were the symptoms of your injury and how were they affecting your daily life?
Oh man, everything was just kind of different. Like I had bad sleep patterns, my emotions fluctuated a lot. I struggled with a lot of depression and anxiety. Hit a really it hit the ultimate peak. I just basically couldn't live my life because I had lingering symptoms, and I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't hang out with friends, and it was all just kind of spiraling downhill pretty quick. And I mean, yeah, it was pretty bad. So
Gotcha. Tell us about your experience with the healthcare world before coming to the Wellness Institute.
it was terrible. Everyone just they didn't have the answers other than just like medication, and I mean that just wasn't the route that I preferred. And everyone was very like they weren't, I guess, as educated as like they said they were. They're very what's the word I'm looking for? They what's it's not insensitive, but it's like
Dismissive. Yeah.
well, we could basically, they were dismissive of all of it, and so they just didn't provide it. I can't remember the word.
I was surprised how the lack of, nobody placed, even a concussion specialist, neurologist, nobody placed any importance on it. So whenever he would tell him his symptoms, they either wanted to give him medication. If he went back and talked about how the side effects to the medication were almost worse than what he was going through, they just kind of said, well, that's the only option. Nobody ever offered any physical therapy, nothing. They just kind of cut him off.
They all said it was like in my head, and that they just really, if the medicine didn't work, then that was all they had. And first they tried to tell me I didn't even have concussions. They tried to tell me I was struggling with migraines, and I mean I've had migraines my whole life, so I was like, I don't black out from migraines. So, but yeah, they were just, I mean, dismissive is a great way to put it, and they were insensitive towards a lot of it, and so I was, I mean, it was hard because like from a professional standpoint, if they don't really show too much interest or really care, you're like, oh well, I'm kind of stuck here, and my life's just gonna be terrible.
And that was after first and second opinions, so it wasn't just going for one.
Mm-hmm. When, do you know the date of your first injury?
It was like, the first one I think was the 28th of April, or the 30th.
It was April 30th and then May 2nd
Yeah.
Gotcha, last year?
of last year, 17.
Gotcha. How long did your symptoms last?
Until now. Until now, yeah. And I mean, they, like you said, they kind of fluctuated and kind of plateaued and stuff, but it was the first, I think, 6 months were absolutely miserable, and then even first semester back at school was, well, that's a part of the 6 months I was miserable. The first 3 months were absolutely insane. Like I thought I was crazy. Like there was a point that like I was laying down at my house and I was like, okay, like you just have to accept that you're crazy now. So, but that was just because my anxiety was crazy. And
Yeah, you lived in darkness.
yeah,
Couldn't have any
for the first like 5 weeks, I just laid in her bed with the lights off, and I mean that's enough right there to make you go insane. And it's like Dad said, it's different than when like obviously if you have the flu or strep, because you can still communicate, talk to people, watch TV, and you can still do all those things you do on a regular basis. But when you can't do any of that and you're just in your head, even someone who doesn't have anxiety or anything like that, you can get in your head and it gets crazy and it's wild and very uncomfortable. And I thought I was crazy for a while. So.
Tell me about your experience here.
Oh, dude, it was life-changing, absolutely life-changing. I can feel the difference already, and that's, like, being completely honest, 100%. And it actually, at first, when she told me that, like, we found another place, like, I actually cried, because, like, I literally was so depressed and with all of this, and my life was pretty miserable. So, like, finally, like, seeing, some light at the end of the tunnel was very refreshing and rejuvenating, and so yeah, I actually cried, and so I was like, wow, I actually found something. And yeah, I basically kind of cried last night too. Like I was just kind of by myself, and I was like, wow, like I didn't think that my life would ever get back to normal. And so.
And
yeah.
I'd like to say, as his mom, from the get-go, first person who referred us to you, it was in seconds. You responded. Everybody here has been professional, caring,
Yeah.
Empathetic and sympathetic. They you've let us know from the get-go there, we're gonna work on this, there's a plan, things are going to be okay. Can't guarantee you anything, but this is what we can do. Every day we left reassured.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for a better experience.
Yeah, and from the standpoint of just you guys, I mean, it was the most uniquely awesome environment, family, loving, caring, and it was different, man. You guys have separated yourself a lot from other people, and it was a place that I wanted to come to. I was excited to come to because I enjoyed every part, from you guys to just being here and doing everything, and so it was very refreshing, and so.
Very professional, but very family oriented.
Very much. We love it. We love the family atmosphere.
That's what like made me so comfortable and like brought me so much peace and comfort. Like was like how educated you guys are, and then also just like the atmosphere. And I was like, dude, this is the best place I could have been. So.
What advice would you give to someone who's had a head injury?
Man, like I have a lot. I mean, I could go crazy on that, but like you just keep the faith, stay strong. Like I said, I could go into a whole sermon on that, but one thing that I've always kind of told people is like God isn't going to give you anything you can't handle, and He gives His toughest battles to the strongest soldiers. And so just through that, just know through all the trial, the tribulation, it's only molding you, it's developing you as an individual, your character, your relationship with God. And so if He brings you to it, He's going to bring you through, as cliche as it can get, but it gets better. It really does. Like you just got to, I like to say, keep it moving and grooving. And so that's the best way I can put it. Just continuously, like, even I know spiritually it's kind of a weird thing to talk about and stuff because people may feel that's kind of like forced down their throat or something like that, but just consistently day in and day out, like, pursue God's heart, because He knows you better than anyone else. He knows where He needs you to be, where He wants you to be. So if you can keep sprinting after His heart and keep your identity in the fact that like He's going to make you okay, everything's going to be okay, it's going to be a whole lot easier, because from a societal standpoint, it's easy to be frustrated and be like, my life's terrible, it sucks. I've even been there. There are days that the last thing I wanted to do was even like have a conversation with God, and I was like, look, dude, my life sucks right now. Like, I don't want to have any involvement with that. But then at the end of the day, in the midst of like being in my own hell, I found myself back at the same point. So yeah, just continuously, just make the effort, pursue it, and it's gonna be all right.
And there's help. There is help out there.
Yeah,
there are people
absolutely.
who care.
Yeah.
And there is help for such a situation as this.
Oh yeah, and another thing is that if anyone hasn't ever heard of Trent Shelton, he's a great guy to go watch on YouTube. Just big time motivational speaker, and what's unique about this is that like we're built differently, we're crafted differently, and as difficult as it is going through like anxiety and depression and things like that, is that like we're different. So like other things that may have hurt other people or killed other people or things like that didn't kill you or break you. So like that's one thing I could say too, is just that like we're just like, you're just molded different, and like regardless of like the mental like strength or physical strength or anything that you think you possess, you're worth a lot more, you possess a lot more, and if you can just like kind of dig deep and find it, you're gonna be okay. So and that like it's not gonna take you out, so.
Changing gears a little bit, tell me about the testing that we did. Like, remember Monday, what kind of testing did we do? And just tell me about the testing that we did and the changes that you saw in that same testing, the objective findings.
Well, first, what was it called? The
VNG.
VNG. That just in itself right there let me know that as much progress as I thought I had made in a year, I didn't make anything really. And just that in itself, like the stability that I saw, like when we just moved on to like another exercise, like it basically like made me aware of what I was unaware of. It like educated me on how like important and how like significant like your eye movement and all that is to like the whole process. So that right there let me know, like after we did that, like I could physically feel that my eyes were kind of following or tracking and all that. And then by the time we did it yesterday, it was literally
Even by Tuesday.
light year. Yeah, even by
Mhm.
Tuesday. I was gonna get into that. Like even the next day, and that I don't. It's all crazy. It's like I'm so overwhelmed and with everything that like I don't. I'm kind of speechless. So
Oh,
and it's the real deal too. Like I mean, you guys have spent time on this. You know what you're doing, and like it's not just like as my mom says, smoke in the mirror. Like it's there to see. It's real. Like we literally, like I saw improvement right after. I mean, when we did it the next day, like it was light years better. And so it's all the real deal. It's not a joke. And so it's legit for sure.
Yeah. When it comes to like the therapies, kind of give people insight of what they should expect when, about your experience when you were doing the therapies.
I mean, you're gonna have a great time doing it, but at the same time, like, don't like feel discouraged when you're challenged. I know when I left on Wednesday, I was very frustrated with myself because like I'm at a point that like, I mean, just physically and like stuff like that like I've never been like that vulnerable. So it's like you're gonna like that's one thing you have to be okay with being vulnerable because that's the only like way you're gonna succeed regardless of what it is. Like until you go to the next level, you have to be okay. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So yeah, you're gonna be challenged like in whether it's easy or not. Like even doing the little figure eights with the laser, like something that you think is very easy is very like taxing on you. But it's all like worth it. It's fun. Like I was absolutely terrified of this, and now like I love it, and so it's a blast. But you just got to keep an open mind, open heart about everything, and just like I mean, it's just you can't. I mean, you got to go into everything wholehearted, and it's a blast. I literally enjoyed all of it, and it's all relaxing. It's super nice, and it's not like it was just.
And there's everything you can take home. You can
Right, and there's
the exercises.
it
you
goes
can take
beyond
home
just being here. So yeah.
are so simplistic that but so powerful.
That's what I was like. I was talking to her the other day. I was thrown off of just exactly how simplistic everything was, and I was like, I'm not even winded doing like any of it, and it's literally like changing my brain. Like it's crazy, and yeah, it's you'll enjoy all of it. I mean, and it's like if you kind of have like a competitive nature too, like you can like feel yourself like testing yourself, and it was refreshing for me because because I haven't been able to do activity or compete in like a year, it was like an opportunity for me to start like competing again, and that right there like keeps you encouraged, it drives you and keeps you motivated. And so each day I was like, whenever I went to sleep, I was like, I can't wait to get back tomorrow so I can just kind of get to work and get back to normal and stuff. So it's very encouraging and very motivating. So,
Mom, from a third person perspective, what would you say watching Dalton go through this process? What do you think
I will say that when he first got his concussions, both of them, in a period of time, he was definitely a different person. And anybody who knew him could say that. Coming in, we were so overwhelmed because this had taken a year to finally find somebody. I was, at first I was a speculative, I wasn't sure. I was very, I was speculative as to whether this could actually work. Within a day from him starting the therapy, I could start to see changes in him. I could start to see changes in his personality. Feeling better obviously will do that. But as a mom, the whole year was devastating. Coming here in 1 week, I've said to you several times this week, I can't believe how this has changed him. Just what it's done, obviously, what for a lifetime that it's going to help him. But the personality, the child that I came with on Sunday is not the child I'm leaving with on Monday. On Friday.
I didn't know what to expect, but when I like walked in here and I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, they're really about it. Like they're the real deal. I was like, okay. Like I just saw everything and like the drawings
For
up
a
there.
parent who has to go through it with a child with a concussion, I would live here. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to bring my son. This is the real deal, as he keeps saying. This is it. It's the whole package. The nutrition. The level of education here is just amazing, and it's the whole package. It's the education as well as the therapy, the mental and the physical. It's just, I would recommend it over and over and over.
Well, thank you guys very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think